And then on the hypervisor based, since you have that abstraction between the hardware and the software, you essentially sort of future-proof yourself from those Intel cost curves. So if they come out with a really whiz-bang processor, 2 years from now, and you can have the same level of processing, but cut your actual power consumption and cooling down by, say, 50%, you can jump right on that bandwagon and take advantage of it. All right, so a little bit of a provocative question. Which NFV do you desire? And this basically was a polling question that we sent out with our RCR Wireless during the webinar. So hardware separated, where essentially you can use COT servers, sort of a basic type NFV, call it phase 1 if you want to call it that. Not quite really NFV, but it's a step towards NFV. And then as you go from left to right, this is the little fish on the left get eaten by the bigger fish. So if you have hardware separated in phase 2, that also includes phase 1. And so each phase basically has different capabilities, and you build upon each other, and certain phases could be skipped by an operator and or a vendor. So on the hypervisor, that's sort of when you started to support things like KVM and VMware. You have fully elastic, which is all about automation. We heard Travis talk very much earlier about the automation and the importance of it to provide you flexibility and to speed basically service deployments. And then the last one, and this is kind of just poking a little bit on the industry, do we need to go with functional decomposition? So now that you're on an NFV architecture, now that you have all these elements, is there a way to basically pull apart an STP or pull apart a diameter router into different subcomponents, which then scale differently? Okay. Normally, from if you put it on appliance, or you just basically take that appliance software and pull it into a server and run it on NFV, you get certain constraints, design constraints. I can do this much DAA, but I can't do that much DRA. I can do this, that, or another thing. And you have certain design constraints. But if there's the ability to pull those elements apart in individual discrete things and have them work in concert, you might get a better fit for your particular purpose. So hopefully this is something that is considered and discussed, maybe at 3GPP or other forums. And this is, we're thinking about this now. We don't have definitive plans, but something to think about. So this question was posed to the audience, and kind of stealing some of my thunder here. So here's different types of elasticity you may require. On the left is what I call vertical, which is essentially taking a particular small VM, maybe a core or two, maybe a small amount of memory, and basically expanding it upward. And that could be either within the same server or basically just transitioning from one server to another. Or you want horizontal, where every time I need more capacity, I just add in another VM, and it's kind of like stamping out cookie cutter approach. I need 1, I need 2, I need 3. They're all the same size, and that's how I expand. Do you potentially need both as a discussion? Are you going to grow? Are you going to shrink? Is diameter basically different from SS7? These are all considerations you have to kind of think about as you're moving your signaling infrastructure over to NFV. Things to seriously consider about, because these have sort of architectural and requirements, architectural elements within them, and also requirements to follow along with it. All right, so poll question number 2. So we posed this: which NFV phase do you desire? There we go. So no real surprises for me on this front. I expected a vast majority of folks to basically fall into the fully elastic. That's kind of the nirvana goal of NFV and sort of bringing all the promise to reality. I was actually a little surprised that folks were actually looking for functional decomposition. They were actually looking for further flexibility to scale up and scale down different subcomponents within either an STP deployment or a diameter deployment. So, spent a whole lot of time on SS7 and STPs, but let's not forget about diameter, right? Diameter is basically, probably the top of mind for the CTO within the organization of how to basically make that scale and work and operationalize. So operators, what we've heard from is that operators really are searching for a combined solution to allow the ability to take SS7 and diameter and putting it on the same piece of software, same piece of hardware, or same management interfaces to allow this type of transition. Remember, the SS7 network is going to stick around for a long period of time, and you want to be able to potentially reuse some of these capabilities as that network traffic slowly moves from the legacy network over to the LTE network. So you need a solution like we have out here to the right. Handle the explosive growth, maintain the legacy services, and always be economical. While providing the always-on services. So that is it. Oh, one last thing. So a few months ago, we basically posted a white paper. Feel free to go after that link and download it. And we're talking about the intersection between SS7 and essentially virtualization. And what we're trying to communicate here is, the SS7 network and STPs aren't quite ready for mothballs, and we need continued kind of investment into these technologies. And what's happening here is we see NFV is really reinvigorating that from a customer standpoint. And then, over the last year or so, we've actually, I've seen a whole bunch of customers have actually said, yes, I'd like a virtualized STP. Please tell me what you have. So I'm just reflecting what the customers are telling us of what they're looking for. And that is it.